Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, shortly we'll be listening to the recitation from Surah Al-Anbiya, meaning prophets, chapter 21, and Al-Hajj, pilgrimage, chapter 22. Now, with the Surah Al-Anbiya means prophets. And these are the choicest people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose to put humanity on the right course. The exact number of prophets we don't know. But the prophets that were mentioned in the Quran, there are 25. We have to believe in all of them. This is one of the articles of faith. We believe in the prophets and messengers. Every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of prophets, and by the way, the narratives of prophets and the earlier community, actually 2/3 of the Quran, talking about 2/3, almost 1/3. So 2/3 make up the stories and narratives of the prophets and their encounter with their communities. But every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions something related to the prophets, there is a specific angle or perspective that is being focused. Like here, for example, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about prophets, and you will hear the stories of many prophets, beginning from Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam to Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. Every time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the prophet, the angle or the approach or the focus is about patience, sabr. That the prophets did not have an easy ride through life. Even though, as I shared with you, these are the choicest people on earth, and chose and purified and honored to give them, still they did not have an easy ride through life. As a matter of fact, as the Prophet ﷺ told us, أعظم الناس بلاء الأنبياء أعظم الناس بلاء الأنبياء ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. The people who had it, the trials and tribulations the most are the prophets. They did not have an easy ride through life. They had a big share of trials and tribulations. But an amazing thing about two things, about their response, how they faced the trials and tribulations, and they faced the trials and tribulations with trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and patience. And number two, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rescued and came to their aid and to their help, especially at times of need. So there is a divine intervention being mentioned in this surah. Pick two examples. So I'm inviting you to look at only two examples of this divine intervention. Allah did not let them down, the prophets down. The first is verse 69. So what chapter is it again? Chapter 21, verse 69. And this is the encounter of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam and his people. When the people throw him into fire. Fire. What is the nature of fire? The nature of fire, it burns. And the divine intervention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا على إبراهيم. Allah changed the nature of the fire. It became a cooling and peaceful place for Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. That's number one. I see, mashallah, turning their smartphones and following me. So verse 87. And this is again a divine intervention on the part of Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam when he was swallowed by the big fish, the whale. What is it that he said? لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. Again there is a divine intervention. فنجيناه. We delivered him. We saved him from his agony. Was it special for Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam as a prophet? No. Actually, the next verse, وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Thus, we will save all the believers. If they are in agony, if they follow the example of the prophets. Again, what is the example of the prophets in responding to trials and tribulations? Two things. Trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah means good for us. Even though on the apparent side it looks bad, but there is immense goodness in each test and difficulty and trial. And number, respond with these two aspects, I'll rescue. That's the two examples I would like to make. There are other examples. Look at Sayyidina Ayyub alayhi salam. Look at Sayyidina Noah alayhi salam. There are so many examples. This is just for the sake of the time. Now, conclusion. As I said, all the stories of the prophets, whenever Allah mentions them in a particular surah, there is a focus. What is the focus of this surah? Is patience of the prophets, and that they had a big share of difficulty and trials and tribulations. There is another focus, that all the prophets that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Anbiya were sent to their local communities. Now what about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? In verse 107 of this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We sent you as a token of mercy for the entire world of time. So Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent as a gift of mercy for the entire world. And here we should ask ourselves, who is in charge of conveying the message of mercy on behalf of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he died a long time ago, more than 1400 years ago. But we are commissioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before do we know exactly the details of this gift of mercy? And the bigger question is, are we following the example of this gift of mercy in all its aspects? Not just in, wearing white jilbab and, atr, perfume, and eating from eating with the right hand. And these are very small stuff. But are we, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in his dealings with his wives? And in so many other aspects. So we cannot shop around the example of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We are tasked to follow him completely in his walk of life, in all his walks of life. And then, after getting to know this real example, we are tasked with another responsibility of conveying the message of mercy for the entire human beings. My dear brothers and sisters, we should be honest with ourselves that we are not doing the job as we should. And I'm inviting myself first and you, my dear brothers and sisters, to make some sort of a resolution in this blessed month. Get to know the Prophet ﷺ better. Get to know him better. It is not just reading his bio or his seerah. The real knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ comes from hadith, reaction of the hadith of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, companions, to say and do. You will see an amazing and profound things about our beloved Prophet ﷺ. And again, another resolution that we are tasked with is that we should convey this example of mercy for the entire human beings. I cannot even, I sit or stand before you for days and look at the thick layers of misconceptions about our beloved Prophet ﷺ. Our enemies are very busy, distorting the beautiful character of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. So at least, and if we are not doing the job, who else is going to do it? At least we should get to know the example of our beloved Prophet ﷺ better, and more importantly, we should convey the message not with words but through our example. These are the two resolutions I am